everybody for taking some of your day to join myself and my colleagues for this SCRS Global Impact Partner Update. All I can tell you is that it's been an incredibly busy few months. On our last call, we talked a little bit about the ongoing team topics that we'll cover a little bit more here today, that all of us met together on last October at the Site Solutions Summit. We've been absolutely thrilled to have closed out a successful Ecology meeting. We've been busy with our new initiatives, attended all types of industry meetings, from SCOPE to ASCO to ACRP and several others. We've launched a new member-facing website. We ended another great European meeting. And last but certainly not least, we have welcomed a wonderful new president to our organization in Casey Orvin, and wanted to take a moment to let Casey just share a few words with you all today.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me first just say thank you. Thank you for supporting SCRS. Thanks for all the warm wishes that have been extended in the last several months. I look back and it's been a very busy and yet very exciting 4 months since I joined, and I'm humbled by all the positive just outreach that has happened, and it amazes me how close our industry is, right? How important relationships are and how important it is to work together. So thank you for supporting SCRS. Thank you for sitting on so many different work streams and advocating for sites. And it has been, as Sean mentioned, it's been a very busy several months. We've got the Ecology Summit, which was very successful, and I'll talk about that shortly in upcoming slides, as well as the European Summit. But really, the one thing that stood out to me as I've met so many of you and have presented at so many different functions and different meetings is how important it is that we continue to work together, how important it is that the sites continue to have a seat at the table, which we do, and how important it is that we work with all the sponsors and CROs and all the service providers and everybody really on this call, and how when we do work together, how impactful that can be and how effective that can be in making change. So I'm very anxious for the next several months or the next several years to continue leading SCRS, but as Sean mentioned, it wouldn't be possible. All what's happening in our industry, all the successes that all of us are having, it goes back to working together, and it goes back to several people, everybody on this call being the Global Impact Partners and supporting SCRS in all that you do. So thank you, and I'll be talking about some of the other exciting things that have been happening in the last several months in upcoming slides, but appreciate this time to all be together with everyone today.
Thank you, Casey. Well, everyone, as Casey mentioned, we're going to be updating you on some of the things that we've been working on since our last conversation, and for you and your teams to be aware of as we approach this second part of 2019. I want to make sure that I take a moment because there are a few new GIPs that we're going to introduce here shortly, but I wanted to take a moment to really focus on the word teams. If you're not aware, or maybe this is just a reiteration of something you did know, your GIP program is organizationally based. That means that anyone from your organization can join SCRS or be part of SCRS, be aware of our community, take advantage of the ongoing member resources that we provide just to not only sites but industry. And I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that. We'll talk a little bit about that just a bit later here in case that you feel like maybe, hey, I don't know if I'm taking advantage of all of these details, all these opportunities. Wanted to let you know that it is team-based, and anyone from your organization, we base it around domain name in our new system. So we'd be happy to have as many of your colleagues join SCRS as part of your GIP. We'll be talking a little bit about the industry updates and some of the other organizations that SCRS continues to work with, our site advocacy group and research updates. and a little bit of what everyone's been asking around some of the new initiatives that SCRS will be undertaking here as we move into 2020, and just a little bit of highlights around those team topics that we all discussed just back in October. Lastly, everyone, if you have a question, as Rick had mentioned at the beginning of the webcast, please simply chat it to everyone in your chat box. If we can, we'll get to everything here at the end of the webcast as soon as possible. And if I don't get a chance to get back to your question in this live version, we will be sure to follow up with you. So our Global Impact Partner community continues to grow. We will talk a little bit about some of our new members, and we have a few that will be joining us within the next quarter as well. We also are proud to welcome the support and recognize the support of 5 organizations at the top of your screens who have increased their commitment and investment with SCRS to take on new levels of engagement, and that would be Syneos, Virtual, Janssen, Lilly, and Metadata. Each of these organizations have customized their approach to the SCRS audience in a variety of ways and help us with investments across the enterprise, not only through their GIP program and Summit participation, but also on ongoing research projects and initiatives. I just wanted to take a moment and thank everyone there. You know, one thing that you all don't get to see, and I want to make sure that you're aware of, is we take our GIPs quite seriously. We take you as a member of the family. When Casey, Dan, Allison, myself, Jimmy, when we go out to speak and we're presenting on SCRS, a slide that we're always thrilled to cover is this one here. And a lot of times it provides an opportunity to have a conversation with the audience on the organizations that are involved with SCRS. It's one of those things that we're going to do a better job of promoting as we attend different shows and events over the course of the year. But I wanted to let you know that you're very much a part of us, even when you're not listening to us on this webcast or at a Site Solutions Summit. We're thrilled to have you all, and we promote our GIP program as a cornerstone to site-facing strategy throughout the year. We've worked hard over the last 6 months with Casey coming on board on what I would simply say is aligning our why. You know, as SCRS, we deal with a number of constituencies. We deal with, obviously, sites, CROs, sponsors, and the challenges that all of you face, as well as the solution providers who are working so hard at delivering new innovation into the space. Each of you have a different why for your organization, why you would be a part of that. And we're working hard to help elevate the idea of site success and its impact on everyone in research, obviously at the patient level, but in particular, how collaboratively SCRS can be that bridge for your teams to work together in accessing site intelligence, networking with not just the sites, but also our sponsor CRO and solution provider subject matter experts. How many organizations that are part of the GIP program are taking what they learn and incorporating it into their own organizations for efficiencies, whether that's through site relationships or just simple communication. We want to make sure that you're aware that we go to our GIPs for thought leadership. So if your team, if there's someone on your team who's really great at delivering content or sharing presentations, introduce them to us. Let us know about them. There are plenty of opportunities over the course of the year to either speak at a summit, join us at a symposium, participate in one of our quarterly journals or even our newsletters. There are all types of opportunities to expand your reach with us, and we like to go to our GIPs first as a community to do that. If you feel like you're not taking advantage of all of these details or not quite sure how they may fit as benefits into your organization, raise your hand, raise a high sign, and reach out to Marcus or myself, and we'll be sure to schedule some time to talk through it. One thing we've noticed is because we deal with a lot of large organizations, sometimes the transition of just day-to-day personnel, people who may have been involved with GIPs as a GIP and are moving on, or maybe their department needs a refresher on all things SCRS, we're here to help you with that. We want to make sure that your Global Impact Partnership is an incredibly valuable tool, not just for our community, but for your organization as well. So at the end of the slide, at the end of the presentation today, we'll talk a little bit about how to get in touch with us. But if you don't have it, Marcus and I are always willing and able to help you through any questions you might have about SCRS and the GIP program. New to our community are two organizations, 4G Clinical and StudyKick. 4G Clinical, Amy, I believe you are on the line here, and we're going to open up your line just to ask you a quick question here and have you introduce yourself. But we're thrilled with both of these organizations joining us. If you haven't met 4G Clinical yet, I'll share that they were one of the first global impact partners we've ever had who approached their relationship with SCRS with a SAG, and working with us to understand how site advocacy can impact their organization and their customers they're serving. StudyKick, as you all know, has been with SCRS for a long time at our Site Solution Summits, and we're real pleased to invite Matt into this program. But I'd like to go ahead and ask Amy to say a few words and welcome her to the community here. Amy? I think we've got you live there.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We hear you. Thank you.
Thank you. So my name is Amy Ripson. I'm the head of marketing at 4G Clinical. We are thrilled to be a GIP with the SCRS. As John had said, we had approached the SCRS regarding a and we are a randomization and trial plan management company. You might know that also as IRT, IBRS, IWRS. We believe that sites should have a voice in technology, and we've incorporated site feedback into our service from the beginning. And we completely respect the mission and the goal of the SCRS. So when we reached out to them, we wanted to understand not just IRT systems, but how systems in general are used by sites and how we can better connect the dots between vendors, the sponsors, and sites. So the SAG we held just recently, and it was incredibly valuable for us to understand what we can do better as a software vendor, but also how to increase the conversations between sponsors and the site, which we are going to be doing. So again, we're thrilled to be a partner, and we look forward to doing more with you guys in the future.
Thank you so much, Amy. We're so glad to have you and look forward to meeting you in person at the upcoming Site Solution Summit. And everyone, Matt Miller, who is president of StudyKick, if you haven't met Matt and his team at a summit, please make sure that you do so. They attend every single one of our Site Solution Summits. They've been great supporters. They have always been an advocate for the education element to SCRS and have supported our opening session at every meeting they've been a part of. Matt's team specializes in patient engagement, and wanted to let Matt say a few words here today.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate that, and thank everyone for your time. Really excited to be part of the GIP program. SCRS for Study Kick has been something, very special since the company's inception. We've been involved, like Sean said, for some time because we truly believed in the mission that Christine set off with, and then as the legacy continues and what SCRS is doing for the research sites, and ultimately how it affects patients in a positive way, right? And so much opportunity in education and really streamlining really the clinical trial industry and the clinical trial process, right? That's what StudyKick believes in with us as a patient recruitment company and a technology platform. So, we are obviously very excited to be part of this program and obviously be part of the SCRS family. Looking forward to, connecting with all of you maybe later on this year. But, as we continue to support SCRS, we're going to continue to, support the sites as well and the educational piece that goes along with that. So thanks again, Sean, for this opportunity and the time.
You got it, Matt. Thank you. So everyone, thanks to 4G and StudyKick as the latest GIP members of our community. And please look out for both of them, not only at upcoming other industry events, but certainly we hope to see them at the Site Solutions Summit. Up next, I'd like to take a moment to introduce my colleague, Jimmy Bechtel, who is Senior Project Manager with SCRS. Jimmy's going to talk with everyone just briefly about our ongoing initiatives and some new work that we have to be unrolling here in 2019. Before I introduce Jimmy, I just wanted to also just share a little bit about the inception of the GIP initiatives. Most often, initiatives come really out of a challenge or an industry need brought to us from the Global Impact Partner community. The GIPs have been instrumental in every one of the initiatives that we have in front of you. And one thing that we'd like to continue to improve on is the way that we socialize the work in these initiatives. So, we've invested in a brand new website. There'll be some updates coming down the pike on how your organization can get involved in initiatives. And I just want to share briefly that with initiatives are work streams, and they work in teams. We have some GIPs that are headfirst into many initiatives, and we have some that probably this call is about as much as they need to do with the initiative. Their teams might know about the initiative, but from a participation level, they may have other priorities within their organization. Jimmy can talk a little bit about how each of these initiatives are going, but if you have a question on how to get involved, don't hesitate to reach out to Marcus or myself, or of course Jimmy, who is managing these. Jimmy, would love to hear from you on what SCRS is doing with each of these in each of these initiative areas.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sean, and hello, everybody. The first one I'll cover today is the CLEAR initiative, and that's Common Language Evaluation and Reconciliation. And within this, as all these are, multi-stakeholder initiative, CLEAR focuses on the contentious clauses from our CTAs that we negotiate with our sites, that, and we've kind of come together to mutually agree upon those with several companies across the industry. We recently had several conversations with both site and sponsor or CRO staff related to CLEAR and how it's being utilized within the industry currently. And we found that awareness was a major issue with this, as was usability without proper support. So we created a justification language supplement document that sites can use along with the CLEAR language as justification for that contract language when they're negotiating. Additionally, SCRS is going to be working on awareness and marketing campaigns to help create some better awareness within our site community around this project. And it continues to be a fantastic and industry-leading way to speed contract negotiations with our sites through agreeable language surrounding those, again, often contentious clauses. The Trial Opportunity Platform, or TOP, is another important program that helps match sites to trials and you to those high-quality sites that you may or may not have worked with before. So it's a great opportunity to work with potentially new and high-quality sites. We recently had a working group formed with some of you on the call today and some of our site members to work on ways we can improve TOP to be a better program and bring even higher levels of value with both sides of that relationship. Out of that group, we've produced a project plan that lays out some of the effective actions that SCRS, our sites, and our sponsor and CRO partners can take to easily and more fully benefit from participation in the Trial Opportunity Platform. So we're enhancing the program even further. So if you don't have your trials listed on TOP or haven't updated them in a while, we hope that you reach out to myself or connect through Sean if you have his contact information to get everything onto that platform. The Best Site Practices Program, or BSP as we're calling it, is an initiative that was born out of the Responsible Site Management White Paper. That was another industry collaboration where we developed metrics of quality around our site members. And we weighed those with our industry partners that were part of that initiative and produced what we could call responsible site management, certain metrics that sites should meet to be at a certain level of quality. From that, we have developed an online questionnaire that our member sites can log into our website and participate in, giving them a score and sense for where they land on that spectrum of quality. It's a really great opportunity, again, for our sites to gauge themselves as to where they are proficient and other areas where they may need to improve as those participating in clinical trials. We're moving on and enhancing this program further by working with some of our global impact partner sponsors or CROs to incorporate the best site practices score and outcomes into the feasibility process. So we're getting ready to look at some pilots with some of our close partners and then move on to expand to some of our other companies to give you all a better sense of the level of quality that you are working with our fantastic member sites. The last one I'll cover here is the new Digital Innovation Initiative, and this is SCRS's newest initiative focused on digital innovation, and right now specifically in the space of virtual trials. We know that certain models of virtual trials are potential threats to sites and SCRS's mission of global site sustainability. Again, as Sean mentioned, a lot of our initiatives come out of a need from the industry, and this is absolutely one of them. So SCRS is working with our partners to support a hybrid approach, one where sites and investigators, our patients know and trust with their care, are enabled to perform both in-person and virtual visits as appropriate. We're in the stages now of developing this project and its charter internally, and exactly what the mission of this initiative will focus on or what its goals will be is currently being worked on. We'll be forming a group to gather ideas and actions for the program, working closely with our partners. Several of you have already directly expressed interest in participating, and we do have your names down. So we look forward to the opportunity to help the sites in this space, but we will, as this slide indicates, be extending a further invitation, open invitation to any of you on the call today and any of the employees you have at your organizations to participate in this initiative as we continue to develop it. Finally, I'll touch on the ambassador program, which continues to drive membership abroad, continuing to move that, and we're continuing to move that program forward. We had an outstanding and well-received event in the UK, as Sean briefly mentioned, and we have upcoming events in Taiwan, South Korea, and Australia. So in the upcoming slides, Casey will be covering oncology and diversity in a little bit greater detail. Thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy. We did have one question, and that was, from everyone on the line, some would be involved in the initiatives. Some maybe would like a teammate or a colleague involved in an initiative. Is the first step just simply it will be to send you a quick note to let you know their interest?
Absolutely. That's correct. My contact information, if you don't already have it, I've reached out to several of you before, but my email address will be at the end of the presentation. So feel free to jot that down and shoot myself or Sean a quick note, and we'll be happy to continue conversations.
Sure. And the other thing that I'll share, everyone, is that this presentation is recorded, and you can forward it. The slide deck's included. So if there's someone on your team that is working on digital innovation, or frankly, many of you are innovating with your technology every single day. So I think we'd love to include them in not only this particular initiative as it takes shape, but perhaps in future work as well. Sometimes it takes a while to get an initiative going. We need to understand what's important to our audiences, both at the site side and member side, and then important to each of you from a GIP perspective. So this is just in its inception, and we appreciate, as we'll report on it, as things begin to take shape and members and organizations as well as agendas are beginning to form. Obviously, survey and research that will inform some of that work, but appreciative of Jimmy's work here early on with getting this organized. That leads us to two ongoing initiatives, and I'd like to invite Casey Orvin to share a little bit about what's happening with our SCRS Oncology and the great work that the team is doing, not only from a summit perspective, but through Archna's leadership with our oncology board.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Thanks. And again, with all the initiatives that we're doing, appreciate the support that all you on this call and those GIP members contribute to. As Sean mentioned, the oncology is such an important part and holds a very special place in all of our hearts due to Christine passing away from her disease. And we know that oncology, and here's a wonderful picture of Archna, and I believe Archna is on the call, but Archna is with Roche and Genentech and did an excellent job as being the summit chair for the oncology summit that took place in February in Texas. And when we talk about oncology, we often mention the summit because it was our first summit of SCRS that was really dedicated to a distinct therapeutic area. And we had received, and talking with Christine and talking with the team, this was several years in the making of having this oncology program within SCRS. But it's much more than just the summit. Although the summit was a very successful meeting, had over 250 attendees there, and we're planning for almost doubling that, or over 400 attendees for 2020's meeting. But Archna and the team did a wonderful job in putting on that summit and leading the summit. But outside the summit, we also have two other work streams. One of the work streams is the summit, making sure that we have the right content, that we have the right people there that are speaking, professionals in the industry. But we also have a very involved oncology board that just reported in their successes just yesterday to the team. We have a work stream that's involved in site assessment and engagement, really looking at providing educational and resources to support the clinical research site specific to oncology and what makes a quote-unquote preferred oncology site. So that work stream is working together and making sure that from an engagement that the sites are very engaged and that we have the right sites participating within the industry. Another one is the education, really driving awareness of oncology research as a profession, and then also the diversity and how important that is within the oncology clinical research space. So a lot of work involved with oncology. Archna is going to stay on board in a somewhat of a different role, but we now have two new summit chairs. Sandy Smith with U.S. Oncology and Peter with IQVIA will be co-chairing the upcoming summit. So encourage everybody, if you attended, thank you for attending that summit in February. Very much looking forward to an even more successful summit in 2020. And we really have new people coming into this program almost weekly, if not daily, wanting to be a part of oncology. Because when we look within the industry, and we can look at so many different pipelines of our pharmaceutical companies, and such a large percentage of those are devoted to cancer and devoted to oncology. So we saw this as a need, and we are grateful for the support that it's received, and it will continue to be a major focus for us. As we move on from oncology, the other area that we want to speak about is the diversity program. And really, this GIP call is very timely, because I don't know how many saw the announcement, but last Friday, the FDA released a new statement and guidance on diversity. And it was all about enhancing the diversity of clinical trial populations. So diversity continues to be important for the FDA, continues to be important for the industry, and I'm very pleased to report continues to be a major importance with SCRS. And so we're staying on the cusp of all these issues and how it relates specifically to sites. We will continue to have webinars that we've done in the past focused on diversity, really talking about the evolution and the importance of it. Also, really looking at current practices and what needs to change, what needs to alter, what do we no longer need to do, what are the things that we need to start doing. And then really sharing of all that info in what we call a site patient diversity toolbox. And this, Diane Foster will continue to lead this within SCRS, but very appreciative of the core working group that had a face-to-face meeting on May, so just last month on May 1st, and several that are on this call were part of that meeting. And really what the next step is really the development of the site assessment tool. So we have that assessment instrument that's entering the next step. It's undergoing validity right now and reliability testing, and we will soon have results to share with you as GIP members and with the industry. So we also knew, since we last spoke, is we've launched our global outreach for diversity with a subgroup, and we now have a member of the NIHR, so the member that's in the UK that's part of this group, and we now have FDA representation on this working group. So we continue to focus on diversity. We know it's an important topic. We're appreciative of the sponsors mentioned here below that have been supporters of diversity, and there's some that already in 2019 have given additional support, and appreciative of Janssen and Metadata and Roche, who's new to this group. So appreciative of those, and you'll continue to learn more about diversity. We'll be speaking about it at DIA next month, but it's actually in less than 2 weeks' time, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But diversity continues to play a key role as it does in the industry and with the FDA, so that was very timely. I wanted just to take a moment too, and I know that the time is getting shorter, but one area that I feel very strongly about, and it's really what SCRS was built on, is how we can work together, right, on finding solutions to accomplish the same goal, which I say over and over, is to get medicine and new therapies to patients in the most efficient and effective way possible. That's our ultimate goal, whether you're SCRS, whether you're sponsors, CROs, service providers, is to get drugs to people the quickest way possible in the most effective way. So along those lines, I feel very strongly that part of that solution, part of how we obtain that goal, is around collaborations. And there are many different companies within our industry that are key for SCRS to work closely together with. So I wanted just to take a moment to discuss a few players in the industry that some activity has happened in the last 4 months or so since coming on board. ACRO, the Association of Clinical Research Organizations. I was able to travel to Washington, D.C. and met with Doug Petticord, who several on this call know Doug. He's always been a strong supporter, and ACRO has been a strong supporter of SCRS. Doug is on our leadership council, and ACRO will actually be doing a breakout session at the summit on risk-based monitoring. And of course, it's from the CRO's point of view. So appreciative of ACRO and the support that they give. Another company is ACRP. And there are a lot of synergies that can exist between SCRS and ACRP. Again, I met with Jim and his team a couple times, and we're discussing the ways that we can really support each other. You know, when I think about ACRP, the focus on the coordinators and on the workforce. And when you think about that, the stronger the coordinators are, the stronger the people that are at the sites are, the stronger the sites are going to be. So I think there's a lot of ways that we can work together to support each other. ACRP has some great work streams in place right now, some that I will soon be, SCRS will soon be a part of. And so we're going to be continue to support them. They will be exhibiting at our summit. Next year, we will be exhibiting at ACRP. So there's a lot of synergies that do exist and that will, even more, that will exist in the coming weeks and months with ACRP. The third one I like just to touch on is ASCO. With our focus on oncology, including the summit, we knew it'd be crucial to be involved with the American Society of Clinical Oncology. So Dan and I were able to go visit the ASCO's headquarters back in late April and met with Patricia Hurley and Courtney Davis, and we spoke about how our two organizations could really collaborate and how we could work together within the oncology space. They were very complimentary of the summit, and they said they exceeded their expectations when they attended. They also have what they call a community forum annual meeting in September, and SCRS has been invited and will take an active role in that meeting. And we're also involved in some steering groups as it relates to ASCO. So again, as we focus towards oncology and made that a priority, we wanted to reach out with those organizations that are already familiar in that space and how we can work together, and ASCO is working very beautifully together. So the next one is, and Sean, I'm going through a little quicker because I see time, but is the city, the Clinical Trials Transformation Initiative. And again, have been involved in this in the past and will continue to be. Jimmy, who you just heard from, is on the steering committee. He's a member. We have a diversity project that Diana is involved in. Also a study startup that Jimmy will be involved in, and site and investigator qualification. So Jimmy was the project lead on that, and it involved recommendations on how an investigator is deemed qualified. What does that mean? What's the proper training? So we will continue to be involved in city. There's an upcoming meeting in a couple months that we will be a part of. DIA is another organization that last month I was able to sit and have a meeting with Sudip, who's the Senior VP of Managing Director at DIA, and he committed to work very closely with SCRS and really looking at creative ways in which we can interact. He paid SCRS a great compliment, and he said, "Your summit is unique. Your summit is a warm feeling that you really get the feeling of people coming together with the idea of how can they work together to be more successful." And it was a compliment to the SCRS team. It was a compliment to everybody on this call because you're so involved in the summit, and the speakers and the chairs and everything that's a part of that summit. And he said, we want to support SCRS. So we're looking at ways of how we can support DIA, not just the U.S. meeting, but perhaps other meetings throughout the world when we're talking about diversity and when we're talking about building up the research space in other countries. So although not exhibiting this year at DIA, we will exhibit next year at DIA. And in just a moment, I'll share with you, we are speaking at DIA this year. Last but not least, with Transcelerate. Again, a fantastic organization. Jennifer Burgess has joined our leadership council. They've always been strong supporters of SCRS, and there'll be a special area actually at the Site Solutions Summit that you can really experience the Transcelerate experience at the Site Solutions Summit down in Florida in October. So there's kind of a unique space that you'll be able to experience what Transcelerate and learn more about that. Last, if you'll move to the next slide, I'll just mention that Jimmy and Diana will be speaking at DIA. So if you're there in attendance, please make a point, if time allows, to visit these two sessions. And also just wanted to say, too, I will also be at DIA, as will Marcus. And we would love to schedule some time to meet with each of you. There's some that are on the call that I've talked to on the phone and have had several teleconferences, but have never had a face-to-face meeting. So if your time allows, please know that we would love to meet with you, talk about the GIP program, talk about what we're doing well, talk about what we can improve on, and really how we can collaborate and how we can work together in the future. So with that, Sean, I'll turn it back over to you if there aren't any.
Sure. Thanks so much, Casey. Everyone, one of the things that we are being asked a bit about is how you get involved in the initiatives from a funding perspective. Why would you get involved? The short answer is that the diversity and oncology initiatives, they require capitalization and investment. We are it's hard to launch a whole new program, let alone the research and resources needed to help inform a host of new member organizations and meeting. So you may have noticed that we do have funding opportunities available for those two initiatives. For oncology, you don't need to invest to be part of that initiative and program. You can come to the show. You can listen to the calls and board meetings, and participate in the work streams. But what we are looking for and would be appreciative of is if anyone has an interest in what funding means and how that works, what we would do to highlight your organization, we would welcome it. It's an opportunity for us really to reinforce what we're doing with that program and grow it. At that same time, a lot of organizations that we work with, a lot of global impact partners, also run customized programs centered around some of their own personal objectives as an organization. Some pretty remarkable surveys that are out in the marketplace this year, as well as our site advocacy groups. And I just wanted Mike J. to spend a moment and share a little bit about what the SAGs and surveys that we have that are ongoing, and if anyone has any questions, what they can do. Mike?
Thanks, Sean. Hi, everyone. This is Mike J., Senior Project Manager here at SCRS. As you can see on the slide, we're listing the active SAGs there on the left by title. The SAG program really is a benefit not only to the GIPs but also to the site members. So when putting a SAG together, you can consider that if you've watched any of our landscape surveys, the level of experience in our site membership is very high, with just the majority being 10+ years, and they're very enthusiastic to share what they know from their past experiences in the research industry with you all. And we also have access to all roles at the sites. So if we have access to therapeutic areas, the U.S. and OUS, various experience levels. And so when putting the SAG together, you can be very choosy over who you want in it. And it's always a great experience. One of the current SAGs I'm putting together, we've had over 80 applicants. And if you don't know, a SAG consists of about 10 to 12 site members. So the members are, this is one thing that when they find out about it, they really want to get involved. And regardless of what kind of criteria we send out for members, I still get people that say, I know I don't fit any of this, but please put me into a SAG. They really want to get in there and participate. They take it as a great responsibility and almost a duty to participate in the SAG program and lend their experience to all different aspects of research, payments, technology, different roles and how they communicate with each other, different interactions, patient technology. So you can get expert input into any innovation and rollouts or changes to existing processes that you have. And regarding the program, it's flexible. So even though if you look at it on the website and it says how it's put together and how the meetings are conducted, if we're nothing if we're not very flexible here at the society, and we can adapt to fit any needs that you have. And you can also contact us, contact Sean or me, just if you want to explore the idea, just to see if just to noodle it with us and see if it's something you would be interested in. And it's a great way, and not only to solve some kind of. Sorry, did somebody talk, or was that my?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was just going to.
it's Sean. I just was going to share with everyone. If you're not familiar with site advocacy groups, and the reason we don't list the companies involved on the site is this is really the intellectual property of the organizations who are hosting the site advocacy group. These are deep dives. They're focus groups. They can center around something that the organization wants to achieve, something the organization wants to test, hypothesize from a site-facing level. And Mike does an incredible job of organizing and getting those communities together.
That's correct. Yes. So go ahead, Sean.
Yep. Sorry, and then I wanted to make sure we had some time just on some of the ongoing surveys that are currently being delivered, Mike.
Yep. And then for surveys, we conduct between 5 and 8 surveys a year, and there's usually one going on at any time. Right now, we're closing out of the Oracle survey is finishing up, and we've launched the virtual trial survey. Again, same thing, access to all kinds of site personnel, roles, experience levels. And this is another portion of our membership that our membership feels responsible to participate in, because they join the society with the intent of being part of the industry and not being reactive to it, but being active in it. And the last two surveys are the ones that we do every year, the Site Landscape Survey and the Eagle Awards. Now, the Site Landscape Survey this year, for those of you who have seen it, we typically do some core questioning so that we can follow trends over the years in finance and operations and business development. And usually every year there's one kind of new section. And this year it's going to be virtual trials. And we're also handling it a little differently this year, whereas we are putting together kind of a group to shape the questioning, make sure everything is what they expect to see, and so have more of a member input and GIP. So again, if you're interested in that, contact Casey or me. We're putting the groups together now, but if there's something that you want to be a part of, let us know, and we'd love to have your input into the site landscape this year. And of course, the Eagle Award is for site votes only, but that's how we generate our big award during the Global Site Solutions Summit in October.
Thanks, Mike. I was going to share with everyone, and I know we're running a hair over time.
Yeah.
I'm going to be brief and quick and get through just a few more slides, everybody. But I wanted to share that, with the Eagle Awards, what's so interesting about that and how that works. Be on the lookout for both of these surveys, and if you have a chance, make sure you go visit Greenfire, Oracle, or Virtrial at the upcoming events in the industry over the next few months, including ours, and ask them about this work. All of these organizations have done a remarkable job of working with us and framing those questions to help inform really some of the challenges that sites are facing and how they can be working to solve some of that with their own platforms, but also consultatively with the clients they serve. Excellent. Thanks, Mike. But with that Eagle Awards, that talks a little bit to site relationships. And these are our team topics, everyone, that we sort of talk through. If you may remember in October, for those of you who were at that GIP meeting, we honed 6 topic areas that the Leadership Council and the Global Impact Partners Group voted on as these are the topics most important to our industry: site relationships, patient engagement, ongoing contracts, training, the globalization of just research and activity, both from a membership standpoint and everyone's work overseas, and then unpacking SCRS. I'm going to touch on just very, very quickly one of these, but here's what I want you to know. The topics, what we do at these, every single conference, every single symposium, every time we present in the landscape survey, we are working to incorporate these 6 topics and help them inform some of the strategy that SCRS is working towards even moving into 2020. But in particular, I'm going to focus just briefly on site relationships and ask Casey to share his experience. Most recently, over this last quarter, we had the opportunity to be invited by AstraZeneca and Bayer to participate in some presentations with their teams about SCRS. But I also wanted to take a moment and share that in upcoming months, we've had the good fortune to be invited to participate with Syneos' Site Appreciation Reception at DIA, Trifecta's user meeting, which was exceptional at the Scope Conference, and we would have an interest in supporting you at your organization's events, particularly the ones that face sites or may have an interest in interface with sites. Let us know if you have an interest in including it. And just to kind of share some of his experience, I just wanted Casey to talk briefly about the most recent ones at AstraZeneca and Bayer. Casey?
Yeah, thanks, Sean. We did. We had the unique opportunity of being invited, and a big thank you to Doug and Deb. I believe Deb's on the call with AstraZeneca. They had actually brought in upwards of 250 employees and decided that during this two-day event that they would want SCRS to come in and speak to their staff just about the sites. So what are the sites needing? What are the sites looking for in sponsors and CROs? What are the areas of improvement? What is AstraZeneca doing well that they need to continue doing? What are they doing that they may need to alter the way they're doing things? And it was just a really good opportunity to have an hour just to basically talk about the site landscape, talk about the survey that we send out to all the sites and providing feedback, much like if you've gone to the Site Solutions Summit, we present that data in all different areas on BD and budgets and contracts and relationships and financial aspects as well. So it was really a unique opportunity both at AstraZeneca and at Bayer. Bayer, Janine sits on the board for oncology, and so it was a little bit different of a focus because it was oncology based, but again an opportunity to share with them the site voice. And we all left just understanding more on how we could work together to get medicine to patients quicker, and that's really what it comes down to. So if there's an opportunity that SCRS can come into your organization and present and really talk about site sustainability, talk about what the sites are wanting and what the sites need to do, because it's not just us coming in and saying do X, Y, and Z and we'll, things will be better. It's how can we work together more collaboratively? How can we work together to further all of our missions? So a really great opportunity, and hopefully there'll be many more of these in the future.
Thanks, Casey. I got a chance to attend the AstraZeneca Site Management Symposium with Deb and Doug there, and I will share that I learned a lot from it. And it's not just about, hey, let's talk about SCRS. We really want to talk about the value you bring and we bring together, and that's what we've been able to celebrate here, and we're learning to deliver that message as we approach different meetings and events over the course of the year, and look forward to hearing from you if there's something we can help you with. Just briefly, the European Site Solutions Summit was it was a lot of fun. It grew. It's our largest European meeting to date. You can see there we had 24 countries in attendance, and Janssen was provided our first ever site partnership symposium outside of the U.S. We do have one available for the Asia Pacific meeting, but it gave a remarkable, yet again, another remarkable audience between sponsors, CROs, solution providers, and sites, just to talk about what's happening in Europe and how site success impacts everyone there. Just a reminder, we got our Asia Pacific meeting coming up in Melbourne at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. If you have colleagues that are in that region and think they should attend, you get, as part of your GIP program, you do receive as a board member a registration to each one of our summits. And we would, if there's someone that you'd like to attend that may be in that region, just a heads up that we've got the GIP comp code here. That is good for one full registration. And then everyone, if you have more than that, or maybe you're you have someone that you'd like to invite, please reach out to us and just let us know. We'll talk to you. We'll see what we can do to include you, and we're appreciative of your support. Same goes for the Site Solutions Summit. This is one big takeaway for today, everyone. Please take a moment. Go to sitesolutionsummit.com and register as a GIP, as a board member. GIP Comp 2019. This will be the code that we use to include you as your GIP board representative. It is wonderful to get that ahead of time because we expect huge numbers for this year's summit in Hollywood. It's a new facility. If you haven't been to the Diplomat, you're in for a treat. We're back on the beach, I like to say. And I want to remind everyone on the line that we will have our annual in-person board meeting. Guys, we've tried everything. We looked at the schedule. It's just jam-packed. We're going to keep it to Sunday this year from 12:30 to 3. One key difference that we're going to incorporate. Last year we talked about team topics and how that affected us throughout the year. This year, as we approach it, we really want to understand how we take that work a step further. Where can we begin to add value into our initiatives? Are there new initiatives that we should be considering? And there'll be some meeting prep leading into October for each of you on the line as we begin to build out that agenda for the GIP in-person board meeting. Christine's tribute. So really quickly, Allison, I wanted to ask you if you could just share a little bit about how we're recognizing Christine, what we've been doing up till now, and how things are taking shape for, of course, this year's summit.
Thank you, Sean, and hello to everyone. As you know, last October we lost the founder of SCRS and our friend Christine Pierre to ocular melanoma. Many of you joined us at the Ecology and European Summit, where we honored Christine in her memory, and we will also at the upcoming Asia-Pac Summit in July. On a larger scale, we will be honoring Christine and her legacy at the Global Site Solutions Summit in October. For those of you who knew Christine, you know she was known for her signature red glasses. The SCRS team has created red glasses in the form of a pin, so all attendees can showcase during the summit, reminding us of her endless energy and her passion to the clinical research community and the impact she had on so many of us. We will kick off the Christine tribute on the evening of October 11th, where we will showcase her journey and share testimonials of many of her colleagues and friends. In addition to the Eagle Award that Mike and Sean mentioned, we will be adding a Site Award recognizing high-achieving sites in honor of Christine. And then we will be hosting an event, more information to come on this, where we will be allowing attendees to contribute to the awareness of ocular melanoma and rare cancers. And we are continuing to collect pictures and video clips for the tribute, so if you have any you would like to contribute, please send them my way. And if you have any questions on the Christine tribute or in the summit in general, please let me know, and I look forward to seeing each of you in October. Thanks, Sean. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Allison. Looking forward to recognizing her in October. And when you think of Christine, we're excited about some of the ideas that we're going to bring to fruition here in the next couple of weeks to celebrate her in a fun way. Everyone, just a quick checklist. Next steps. If you're going to DIA, we look forward to seeing you either at your exhibit or at a meeting with either Casey or Marcus or Jimmy. Don't forget, all three of them will be attending the DIA this year. Sadly, this will be my first DIA. I'm not able to make it in quite a while. But you're in great hands with my colleagues there in San Diego. They'd love to meet you, talk about anything that you might need relative to SCRS. Mark, notify your Asia Pac contacts about registering for that summit, and mark your calendar for upcoming webcasts and events, most specifically the Global Summit. Really would appreciate anyone to go ahead and register now for that global meeting so we can begin to kind of keep our registration intact. And then also, just a heads up, the Digital Innovation Initiative will be launching soon. Look out for an invite from Jimmy and the team on participating there and really understanding a little bit more about what that's going to look like over the course of the next 12 months. Thank you so much. If you have a question, I appreciate all of you spending just a little bit of extra time with us today. Thank you for that. And if there is a question, you can reach out to us specifically in email. Just real quick, yes, GIP Comp 2019, it will work for one colleague. If it's not you attending the Asia Pac Summit, it will work for one colleague to attend in the region. So GIP Comp 2019 is that code. If there are any other questions, feel free to reach out to us online or just give us a shout. And thanks, everyone, for your continued support.
Thank you, Sean. This concludes today's webcast. Thank you for attending. The recording will be available later today at webventhealth.webvent.tv/events, and we will send all registrants an email tomorrow with this link. While you are there, please visit our event calendar and sign up for future webcasts.